Worried about next election day. News today that may give hope from the same man who handed Democrats massive gains in 2006 and 2008. That's right, America. George Bush is back. Our fourth story tonight, in his comeback speech today at Southern Methodist University, home of, please don't laugh, the George W. Bush Presidential Center.
That there be a stable Iran. Iran that is capable of rejecting Iranian influence.
Mr. Bush had a subtle message for teabaggies, a not-so-subtle message for President Obama, and for humanity at large, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm George W. Bush, and I'm here to help.
I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Mr. Bush was announcing plans for, again, don't laugh, the George W. Bush Institute, which will pursue real-world change in areas of education, global health, freedom, and economic growth.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
In discussing economic growth, Mr. Bush, apparently embarrassed by a rare success, tried to distance himself from and make excuses for helping to prevent a global economic meltdown last year.
There would have been a deficit, but there wouldn't have been the commensurate, the kick to our economy.
I believe the role of government is not to create wealth, but to create the conditions that allow entrepreneurs and innovators to thrive.
I met an onion grower today at the airport when I arrived, and he said, "You got to help me find people that'll grow onions."
I believe in the power of free enterprise, which made the decision I faced last fall one of the most difficult of my presidency. I went against my free market instincts and approved a temporary government intervention to unfreeze the credit markets so that we could avoid a major global depression.
Of course, it's never too late to return to the same free market instincts that made a major global depression possible. And Mr. Bush confirmed that is exactly what his institute will try to do, with a thinly veiled criticism of President Obama's handling of the economy, which is now stabilized, thank you very much, but also of Mr. Obama's attempt to restore the Wall Street rules that Mr. Bush and his cronies helped strip away, leading to last year's crisis.
As the world recovers, we're going to face a temptation to replace the risk and reward model of the private sector with the blunt instruments of government spending and control. History shows that the greater threat to prosperity is not too little government involvement, but too much. The Bush Institute will devote itself to promoting economic growth at home and abroad.
But whose economic growth? Fox News's? They broadcast this thing live. Yours? Don Evans, who introduced Mr. Bush, and you see there, not only served as Mr. Bush's Commerce Secretary while the administration ignored and exacerbated the seeds of the crisis, but after leaving the administration, he became CEO of the Financial Services Forum. It only has 18 members, among them the CEOs of AIG, Citibank, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and UBS. It's currently devoted to opposing, bingo, re-regulation of Wall Street. And the Bush Institute itself, described by Mr. Bush as nonpartisan, its advisory board in full, the provost at SMU, Major Bush supporter Ray Hunt, Bush Secretary of State Condi Rice, Bush brother Jeb Bush, and Bush unrequited love Karl Rove. Nonpartisanship, Bush style.
You know, it's not Union Banking Corporation. In actuality, it was anything but a bank. It was essentially a Nazi money laundering operation that had a lot of tentacles into a lot of different other businesses. They owned a shipping line called Hamburg American Line, for example, which was the first Nazi front business seized, although the line was no longer operational in 1942. In the early 1930s, it transported Nazi spies into the U.S., and then their promotional ads offered cash rewards to any American citizens who would go back on Hamburg American lines and proselytize for Hitler.